All right, we're here with Jay Gray, running for Central Basin Water Board. Jay, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing, Randy?
What's going on?
You know, getting the campaign wrapped up, getting ready to go, and getting our information put together, just knocking on some doors, making some phone calls.
Well, welcome to Los Cerritos Community News.
Thank you.
And you're decided to run for Central, but first of all, tell us about yourself.
Okay. My name is Jay Gray. I'm a candidate for the Central Basin Municipal Water District, 5th Division, and that includes Artesia, Bellflower, Cerritos, Lakewood, Hawaiian Gardens, Paramount, and Single Hill. And father of three girls. Actually, they're here today with me.
They are? I can attest to that.
We'll start with the youngest in the middle there. That's Macy. She's in middle school. And Melissa there to her, on my left, and she's at high school. And Jacqueline on the far right, on my right there, high school. She's actually a senior, and she'll be graduating this year from our alma mater, Randy, Cerritos High School.
Go Dons.
Go Dons. And let's see, what else we got for you here. Those are my children there. I'm native from the area here in Southern California. Grew up actually in Cerritos. My family had a home in Norwalk over by Imperial, and which is now the 105 freeway. So eminent domain came in. They moved the family over here to Cerritos in early 70s, about 71, I believe. It was one of the first, actually the first group of students to attend Leo Elementary, and actually still attached to Leo Elementary School. I'm on the school site council, elected parent representative there. Last year served as chairman. Graduated from Cerritos High School, moved on to college, went first to Cerritos College, got my associates in administration and justice, and then later bachelor's degree in public administration, public financial management, and then a master's degree in public administration, public management, and while I was over at Cal State Dominguez. And while I was there, Phi Kappa Phi as well as Phi Alpha Alpha, and served 2 years as Dominguez, the Public Administration Association president.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, it's a great school, a good program that they have over there, well respected. It's an accredited program there with NASPA, which is a nationwide program for public administration. So anybody interested in public administration, it's a school to look at. From there, career-wise, started in the retail area, worked my way up to management, went over to the tech industry, and in the tech industry worked in sales as well as in operations, and then into public service, where I'm at now, and I do things such as accounts payable, purchasing, and I work directly with the budget. I think one thing kind of interesting with me in this campaign here is unique to with the other candidates. I just finished yesterday as a professional tax preparer. The season ended, so I actually see the folks, you know, the budget line item by line item during the day, and then working with those folks that actually fund the budget when they go to do reconcile their taxes there.
And we're filming this just a day after tax deadline day.
Yep, yesterday the 17th, it was extended there from the 15th being a weekend, and then in Washington they have what they call Emancipation Day, so that gives you an extra day there. So that's over for most folks, not everybody, but for most folks. So that's career-wise. Academically, I did volunteer work, you know, with the kids as they're growing up a lot through their youth programs, helping out where I can. Over in Lakewood, volunteer. They have a program called the Broken Loaf Food Pantry. It serves about 100 families a week over there. Folks that are, have a little need for some supplemental food there. Directed that for a while. And what else you want to know?
Sounds good.
I cover everything.
Yeah, just about.
So why are you running for Central Basin Water Board?
That's a great question, Randy. I think maybe I could kind of put it in these terms here. You know, I had the opportunity to watch the incumbent being interviewed. I was able to see the video, Mr. Hawkins, and to be honest, I was kind of surprised. He mentioned that he was 12 years that he's been doing this over at the Central Basin, and he really wasn't even sure who which cities were included in this, and that surprised me. And what really took me back is he said that this was his winding down time. This was when he was winding down. And that's not the type of people we need, in leadership positions in government. Water is important. The safety of our water, my children here, the water quality. We need folks that are focused on the quality of the water, making sure we have water, not folks that are winding down at their the end of their political career. And that's partly why I'm there. There's, if you folks that have read the Los Angeles Times and a lot of other local papers such as yours, and as well as your blog, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on at the Basin that with individuals that are part of the leadership there. We have individuals that are, you know, right now there's inquiries into illegal campaign contributions, not reporting contributions and expenses, ethics violations. We have contracts that are given away to other businesses. They're legitimately given to one business that goes ahead and goes through the bidding process, and then it's taken away from them and given to another organization that's connected with somebody that's sitting up on that board. And you know, folks that are interested, you know, definitely read the LA Times, do Google search, Yahoo search, whatever you use, and you see that. So I think it's important that we get people that aren't at the end of their career, that aren't looking at the water basin, a place to collect their check for, you know, the last 12 years, that are ready to wind down. But we need someone up there that's aggressive, that looks after the public's money. We need somebody up there that's aggressive, that's going to stand up and say, this is wrong, it's wrong. You know, if not, you know, legally, it's definitely wrong morally. And you know, like I say, I see the budget line item during the day in my career. I see the folks that have to, you know, come up with that big check because you know, and pay those taxes. And I know they're not happy with what's going on with government in general, with the politics that's going on.
What are some of the other issues that you think the water board is facing now?
Well, the main thing the water board here, the Central Basin Water Board, is facing are the people that are running it. We have these programs, these projects that they're putting in that are costing millions of dollars. They did this huge recycle program, and it was audited by the state. Right now, the Central Basin, for folks that don't know, a lot of cities are voting for this agency as a high-risk agency to get a state audit to find out why the water rates are so high, what's going on. This is probably the biggest problem that we have at the Basin here is the mismanagement of the public's trust, the mismanagement of the public funds. Once we can clean that up, we can focus on getting and making sure our water is safe, that it's real and it's reliable and it's of good quality. With all this other stuff going on, you know, obviously it's not getting done. If we have a representative up there now that doesn't even know what offices, what cities that are in the Basin, you know, what else? He said that it took him 12 years to get to where he's at now. He said that in the interview. We don't have another 12 years to clean this up. We need to do it now. We got an economy that's going bad. We got families that are suffering. You know, water bills are tough when folks are, you know, some folks are paying $200 for their water bills. We're subsidizing a recycled program to the tune of $20 per every acre foot that's sold, because this audit that I mentioned earlier, they did not go out and get customers first. They went ahead and they built this project. And a lot of the speculation is that the idea to do this is because we're, not we, but they are basically trying to fund their allies, their political allies, basically for their businesses. We had a huge grant through the Central Basin where I think it was around, that's around $700 or something, $700,000 or something like that, to put in these low flush systems for toilets. And that was the one that was given away. It was put in for this one company, someone else got it. And, you know, could we have done that cheaper? Could we have done it better? You know, so that's, you know, the number one thing is we got to clean that up. Outside the political part of it, we definitely have an issue with water supply and making sure that we have enough water available on a continuous basis to feed our cities. The water basin doesn't supply all of our water, but it does supplement the water that comes, for example, here in Cerritos, where we have some wells that pump some water. The water basin helps supplement that. Downey, for example, you know, they only buy from the basin. I think I read sometime back was somewhere, and it might be a little higher now, but only about 700 acre feet, and an acre foot covers about 2 families for about a year.
Where does the district get its water from?
Most of the water, if not all of it, comes from, and what I'm told from the folks at the Basin, I went down there and I was able to visit with a guy the other day at the Central Basin, is the water comes from the Metropolitan Water District. The Metropolitan Water District gets their water basically from Northern California and up from the Colorado River.
Do you think there's too many water boards?
Do I think there are too many?
I mean, do you think there's just an overabundance of politicians running around on water boards now, or what? I mean,
should there be less?
Should be less.
Less number of water boards, or are the water boards doing their,
Is the system okay right now?
yeah.
Is the system okay? I think we have to look at that on a water board by water board basis. You know, Central Basin as well as the Western Basin, we're one basin together. And they split up a few years ago. And if you look at it, cost went up between the both of them. So, you know, we did better probably cost-wise while there was just one, when they were just put together as one. It was a larger area. The problem, again, we get into is the politics of it. It's not so much the size of it. There was somebody that's connected with the water board that's up in one of the state assembly or state legislature here. They actually want to increase the size of the Central Basin from 5 officials to 7. And,
What do you think about that?
What was the
You know,
purpose?
I don't know what the purpose is. You know, it's, you know, generally, you know, when decisions like that are made, you know, the idea is just, you know, follow the money. You know, and, you know, why do we need 7? You know, the idea could be that, you know, we have more vote to try to go one way or another. If a lot of times people look at organizations that are politically connected and they see that they're not getting the votes that they need, the idea is, well, let's increase the number of people we have on there, and then we can get that extra vote that we need.
Well, isn't part of the rates, doesn't that have to do with the Metropolitan Water District raising their rates?
Part of it does, that's right, part of it does. And the other part is, we went from about $5, now there's 2 fees that, basically there's 2 fees that we pay when not directly as the resident, but for example the city here in Cerritos, when they buy the water from Central Basin, they basically pay 2 fees. They pay the fee that's passed through from the Metropolitan Water District, then they pay Central Basin's fee. Central Basin fee sometime back in the 90s were about $5 an acre foot. We're looking at $90 now. That's a huge increase, $90. Now, the water basin folks will tell you, no, it's only $70. You know, what's 20 bucks between friends? But it's $70, and then the other $20 that they tack on is infrastructure, and the infrastructure is to pay for this recycled water project that they mismanaged, they didn't have the customers for. Now as the average ratepayer that uses the potable, the drinking water, we're having to pay that extra $20 an acre foot when that comes through. We're basically subsidizing the recycled water on that part of it to put that in. And here they want to issue another bond to put in a program, I think it's in La Mirada, and they want to issue some bonds to do some other things to the tune of, I heard, about $45 million. They don't even know where this money is going to come from other than bonds. Who's going to get stuck paying the bonds? It's going to be you, Randy, you, Jerry, and myself when we get that water bill. I mean, everything's passed down to the resident, and we really need to put a stop to the stuff that's not planned out ahead of time.
Well, I was under the impression that water planning takes a few years to actually plan, get it adopted, and then put it into motion. Am I wrong in that?
Well, I think just about anything that you do that has you have a lot of government agencies that are involved. You have a lot of people involved. I mean, if you want to put something in, you know, in for example, the recycle water program that they want to put in, you know, you're encompassing dozens of cities, and you know, cities are going to have to, you know, you're going to have to work out with these cities what you can do in their city. You're going to have to work out where it's going to go logistically. You may have homes, you may have businesses, you may have roads, you have Caltrans, you have all this stuff. You know, when they put this one water project in, they put the piping, I guess, too close to the 5 freeway, so they didn't really plan ahead on here. Now they're going to have to move that out now that we're widening the 5 freeway. Again, you know, that's an extra cost that if this was planned the right way, you know, then we could have probably avoided this additional cost here.
Another question. We get a good part of our water from Northern California, and the courts have been ruling more and more, limiting the amount of water that we can actually pump from the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta because of the fish and other items. And now they're talking about building a peripheral canal to bypass the Delta and go directly into the 2 pumping plants that are down at the southern end. How do you think that will affect us?
Well, one, if we can, you know, anything that we can do, if we really look at it from a strategic point of view, if we look at it at future planning, if we ask the right questions ahead of time, we follow the right assumptions ahead of time, you know, it's probably going to be, it could be a good thing for us. You know, we have this issue in California with earthquakes. You know, we want to make sure that our water supply is reliable. And so we have to ask the right questions when we're putting this thing in. You know, what are the best options? Who's best to do the job? Who's getting the contracts? Are these contracts, you know, and that's the thing is, it's not so much that we need water, how are we gonna get water? It's how are we gonna do it in the best interest of the ratepayer, the taxpayer, at the best possible cost? Not just to put a project in, you know, just because it looks good and we can give a few contracts out.
Have you been up to the Delta?
I have not.
Yeah, it's a bunch of little islands that were made by the farmers, and now they consist of below sea level and these 50, 60-year-old levees that are slowly collapsing, and they haven't figured out how to pay for the upgrading them. But they all seem to be in agreement. If there's a major earthquake up there, the delta, the islands, are going to go, and so will the water supply. And I guess that's the reason for the peripheral canal, if they can figure it out.
Right, supposedly, you know, that's the major consideration there.
That's a big concern, I would think, to us down here.
That is a concern to us down here, of course. You know, looking though at the Central Basin, what is the Central Basin's role in that? Now, the Central Basin is basically is a wholesaler. Their main task is purchasing water